Welcome to the new abnormal. As Aldous Huxley once said, you are now experiencing the concentration camp without tears. It's the new abnormal. I would add, you're witnessing the concentration camp without tears, only fears. All right. In a way, I chuckle. I chuckle because it's so absurd. The the consensual, the story, the narrative, the storyline is so absurd on all levels now. And I'm just going to comment a bit on the thing that really motivates me to experience life, which is a relationship I feel I have with eternity. I even call it, I have a romance with eternity. But one of the things that gets in the way is if experience itself is degraded. I'm piggybacking a little bit on this Quantum of Conscience fellow. I listen to him occasionally, and he has suggested that our souls are being degraded. I would agree with that, but more specifically, I would say experience itself is being degraded. I was just commenting. I'm making some shirts, and I'm sourcing shirts and trying to find a shirt that has some substance and quality. And it's quite curious to me how, in let's say 30 years ago, I would buy a sweatshirt or a T-shirt, and the quality of the cotton and the substance of it was substantial. It was heavy. It was like it was great. Now it's considered to be of a much higher value to have a 4.5 ounce stitch shirt weight shirt that is fabulous because you'd like it light. No, I don't like it light. I like it heavy. I like a heavier, a substantive shirt that'll last a long time. So the shirts, the cotton shirts that we're able to find, I was looking online and I found some a little bit heavier, 6 ounce, but the 6 ounce shirt feels like a 4 ounce shirt. I don't know how they managed to fudge this one. It's like a Gildan shirt that's supposed to be a heavy shirt, and it's thinner than this. Is like a cheap shirt from 10 or 15 years ago. It's still working. I've washed it so many times, and it's anyway. My point is, considering the daily events that are basically variations on a theme. The stories, the narratives that are coming out in especially mainstream news media is like the same stories over and over. There's a news cycle of the same stories, more or less. It's a variation on a theme. Of course, the COVID theme, the virus theme, is the underlying sort of base. It's the base that everything is now resting on. Everything comes out of that. Even the racist, the mantras about racism now, and this peculiar thing about getting rid of police. How nuts is that? You want to have Mad Max in the street, I guess. I mean, some people would argue that the police situation is a kind of Mad Max already anyway. The way these people are conducting themselves. I quite often feel when my few encounters with police is that they all feel like they have the same mother. It's almost like a vetting that only a certain type of a person is suitable for that kind of a job. It's kind of sad. It should be very diverse. I agree, but this weird notion of defunding. Get rid of police or keep police. What is defunding? What does that do? It's like another mantra. This comes out of some weird basement where stuff is being thought up and brought out and ejected into the public domain. And these are all stories that make no sense fundamentally. And my thought today, just the way T-shirts are no longer the quality they used to be, all our experience is being degraded, especially on a, like, physically speaking. And the consequence of that, obviously, if our experiences are no longer rich and full, what is understood to be in the esoteric world as the soul also is degraded, the way Matt from Quantum of Conscience keeps harping on. And my problem with him is he's considering this just to be a stop along the way. Well, I beg to differ. This is the most important stop, if anything, along the way. If his notion about on the way is, well, I want to get to the afterlife or whatever there is in eternity, I want to get rid of this. Well, this presents a problem for me when you have a kind of theory like this Catholic idea about heaven and hell, and that this is just like what it's like to prove ourselves. But that's interesting. It's like the Catholics kind of look at this experience as something where we prove we are worthy to receive the ointments of eternity or something. It's like unless we do the right thing here, the Catholics are, kind of have this part right, then things aren't going to be too interesting or let me put it this way, aren't going to be too pleasant. Whatever that might mean. What is pleasant and unpleasant? It's always tied to some kind of physical experience. This is where they fall short. This is like a notion of the soul and the continuity of experience or existence, let's say, is that everything is tied to a physical dimension, how we experience, which is all we can do. All we can do is experience what it is that we've been given. We don't have a record of what it's like to be in another dimension, no matter what people claim, whether you're Houdini or whether you're the Swami Bhagavanda Gita, whatever you are, there is no evidence that there is something other than what it is that we're experiencing now, with the exception, and I'm going to put a caveat here, and that is once we are in touch with our inner world, this is where we begin to have a notion, a sense of something that is not just the physical. And it's not something I need to explain. People that understand this through, let's say, for example, creativity, those things that we engage in that have very little explanation, the paranormal, some relate to it as the paranormal. I guess, hey, there's another one. It's not the new abnormal, it's the new paranormal. Okay, so what I'm talking about is this idea, this notion, the degradation of experience itself. So we're going through this exercise that is being imposed amazingly on the entire planet. You go all the way down as far south or as far north or east and west, it's basically the same. The masks, the distance, that distancing thing is really weird because apparently it was a student for their graduating high school project came up with the idea that in order to avoid getting sick, you keep your distance from someone. This was a student came up with this idea, and lo and behold, the authorities, the medical authorities said, hey, that's a great idea. Let's make everybody stay 6 feet apart or 2 meters apart. Where did it come from? Some kid decided in their project, science project, to suggest stay away from people and you won't get sick. Because you're dealing with tiny little microbes, supposedly. The germ theory, infectious germ theory, has it that there are like tiny little microbes all over the place, and they're ready to eat us alive. They're gonna get us. It's like Ebola and COVID, and all these things are out there ready to threaten, like terrorists behind every corner. So that is sort of the base platform that we're all standing on now on this earth, on this entire earth, unheard of, that everybody would agree to feel so threatened by something. 9/11 did a lot to get people a bit anxious about stuff, and then they had with events all the time that confirm, yes, there are terrorists. Yeah, of course, there are some bad people out there, but the people that call somebody else bad in turn end up being in my mind, end up being the bad ones. So, the weapons of mass destruction idea, that the people that are calling the kettle black, the pot is a lot blacker. It was even Colin Powell. That's no slight. So this phenomena, this COVID thing, and then you pile on top of it the racist and the police actions and the angers and the hostilities that are uh, sort of, they're all floating on this new directive. This has succeeded incredibly well. This new directive, beyond their wildest imagination, these reptiles in their basements, whoever they are, they're not the frontmen, the Bushes or the Clintons or the Trumps. These are just gatekeepers. But those types that orchestrate this, they probably have an idea how something might work, but this has worked beyond all possible imagination, how well this is working. There's a little glitch here this morning on our national radio, CBC. There was an interview with a guy called Michael Wernick, who used to be, he was the head guy in the Privy Council of Canada, the direct liaison with the Queen to the government of Canada. It's kind of like the head person in Canada is the guy who runs the Privy Council. I don't know what his name is, Secretary of the Privy Council or President of the Privy Council. And he's above, as far as I understand, even above the Prime Minister, in the sense that the Prime Minister swears allegiance to the Queen. So the Privy Council guy, even beyond the Governor General here in this system, has a lot more clout. He's, in my mind, maybe kind of like the Jesuit arm of the Catholics. They're the sort of warriors that make sure everybody is contained within the doctrine that is prescribed. So this Wernick guy was interviewed about the fact, now get that, this is fabulous. I thought the orchestrators of all this event were more than pleased about how well it's working, but it's not well enough, obviously, because this guy came out and said, you know what's the problem, people, is the incitement on the internet. There are people on the internet demanding the head's role of public figures, prime ministers and politicians, and probably even bureaucrats that are seen to be, in the least, they're flawed. At the worst, they're actually frauds and criminals in their own way. So people are saying, hey, we need to hold these people accountable. Well, that's a bad thing on the internet, because he associated with hate speech, that people who are in public office feel very threatened. And he gave examples of people being assassinated. Yes, Kennedy and King and attempts on people's lives are being made. And then he mentioned something about the yellow vest and how that is kind of caught on in a sick way on the internet, and found it to be very disturbing. Wernick was very disturbed by this activity on the internet. And I'm saying to myself, all right, this has been with us. Assassinations, Teddy Roosevelt was, somebody tried to kill him, and I think McKinley before him was assassinated. And of course, Lincoln and other people, and all these activities going on have nothing to do with the internet before, but now it's the internet that's inciting this. So it's, again, and the next step would be to eliminate all opposition on the internet, because I guess that's the last line of defense as far as the owners are concerned. To shut down the internet would be very helpful in order to make everything into paradise, because the internet now is a threat to their order. So what I'm saying is, whatever value there might be in the internet, is that there are aspects to the internet that enrich my life. I have come across people that I really like. I have come across presenters that are excellent in their position. It's sort of, they create a mental framework for my understanding about reality. And then, of course, experience aside, well, I suppose the internet is a kind of experience, listening to somebody, but experience itself is like wearing a t-shirt that feels really good to put on, and it has substantive amount of stitching and cotton on it, so it feels good to wear it. That is what I mean by experience, and the experience is being degraded. And the internet is actually a threat, in the sense that it gives people an opportunity to experience or understand something about the reality we live in that could possibly derail the idea that is being foisted on us. And I think it's the beginning where people have talked about this, that the internet has a shelf life. It was never meant to do what it is doing now, but it kind of caught on, and it may feel, I guess it'll be difficult to, no, it won't be difficult to get rid of it, because all you have to do is there's a directive, and then you pull plugs, and all you have is dog videos and cat videos and silly people running naked through water or something. I don't know. Some weird shit's going to go down where all of a sudden we're not going to get any more substantive content providers. Even if I don't agree with them, it's something where we still feel we have the freedom to. So I'm saying in this video, I'll wrap it up here. I'll try to wrap it up. What I'm saying in this video, there is a level of degradation to all our experiences and an attack against the things that actually make us feel free, richer in terms of our daily encounters with each other, even if it's virtual like this, even if it's a virtual encounter like this. It makes us feel richer. So the Wernick types, I don't know if he is a Jesuit, probably not if he's with the monarchy stuff, but more likely a Mason, Freemason, that these types will be presented. Oh yeah, okay, Wernick, the background on him is he had to quit. He was thrown out of his office because he was caught influencing our Minister of Justice, Wilson Raybould, who also was thrown out of caucus. This is the political system we have, where elected members belong to a party, but the party threw them out because she refused to go along with the company line on SNC Lavalin, a corporation that was actually exposed to be bribing people and doing lots of shit within the like politicians, bribing politicians and stuff. It was exposed, and Wilson Raybould said, no, I'm not going to back down from prosecution of these people. And Wernick called her up and said, hey, I don't think you should do this because we don't want this to happen, blah, blah, blah. And it came out and the guy had to quit. So, you know, he's on the side of the corporate elites and all that kind of stuff, of course, and a gatekeeper, a front man again. But anyway, he came out on this internet thing. So degrade the experience on the internet, because there's 1 in 1,000 that may make an incisive comment, 1 in 1,000, like legitimate, like without any cause to just blanketly call for the death of someone. If somebody does that, yes, that's nuts, that's crazy. But a lot of people are saying they should be held accountable. Well, this is what he's attacking. He's saying people should not be allowed to say that a politician, in their opinion, should be held accountable, for example. So he wants to degrade our experience of the internet, like everything else is being degraded. When you're looking at our relationship now with this COVID is being degraded. We cannot have close contact with each other. Institutionally, governmental, educational. Government has closed down for the most part. There is no open parliament anymore the way it used to be. It's like they're shut down. Operations are shut down. Governmentally, religiously even, people aren't allowed to congregate and worship go with their beliefs. Or educationally, schools are not opening up. Leisure work, going to a park, you can't do a park, so degraded. Leisure, degraded. Helping and assisting someone, if you are a good Samaritan, you want to help. No, you can't do that. You got to stay away. It doesn't work. Silencing opposition, like this Wernick guy. Silence all opposition. Degrading again. It used to be a freedom of speech. We had freedom of speech. So no, we can't say that anymore because it threatens people in power, and people in power don't like to be threatened. If they get rid of them themselves, that's different. But you know, if someone on the internet to suggest a person needs to be held accountable, that's all wrong. And all is about compliance, that we're complying, compliance, and the new abnormal is totally about complete and utter compliance. Not that it even was before. You look at culture, the way I understand culture, what alternatives do we have in a culture that serves us the same shit on a plate every day? You go to any museum, you get the same shit served, whether it's in Australia, in Singapore, in New York, in Berlin, in London, in Toronto, anywhere. The museums all look the same. We get served the same shit everywhere. So, you know, degraded again. Everything experience is being degraded. So it's up to us, my final word, my final word. It's up to us to maintain a higher level of existence in our own lives. Whatever that means to you. I have an understanding for myself what it means. I need to produce work every day that lifts my spirit, that lifts my sense of self into the best I can be, in whichever way that means, without recognizing or understanding what the social norm might declare is right for me. I need to make a decision for myself, the way I need to act, the way I need to be, the way I need to interact. And if that means not interacting, that is a high part for me as well. Not to have interaction with people who are terrified. I am not a do-gooder to bring the good word to people, other than maybe my presentations. And if someone approaches me on my work and wants to have a conversation, I'll do it. But I am not a proselytizer standing on a pulpit and all that kind of stuff. It's not my gig. It's not. I am not comfortable with that, because it has flaws. That kind of public presence has flaws. So I'm saying, in order to counter this degrading, this progressively degrading of our experiences, the only counter, I mean, I'm subject to buying the t-shirts that they serve. In fact, I can't find turtlenecks. I love wearing turtlenecks in the winter, but they've eliminated turtlenecks for some reason. Somebody has decided, nah, turtlenecks are out. We don't like turtlenecks. Are great. I like to have my neck warm. Can't find a good, decent, warm turtleneck. It's impossible to find. I keep going. Okay. I was going to wrap it up. So yes, fine. This video, what I'm saying is, all our experiences, bottom up, top down, degradation to everything that is we encounter, whether it's material substances, like even a phone call to somebody down the street has problems in the reception. It's like, oh, we went to the moon and had a great conversation with the boys up there, but you know, maybe 2-3 miles down the road, oh, the telephone reception is really bad. You see, all these things, and this is something Matt in Quantum of Conscience covers very well. He's one of them, a Plain Truth fellow as well, covers these anomalies quite well to make us think we're so evolved and technologically advanced. But when it gets down to it, everything is breaking down in terms of the quality of things. And cars, they make you feel like, oh, you're in the, well, they're kind of trying to make us around the car thing. I think they're really giving a little bit, mind you, it's still a tin can that has little explosions going off. I mean, it's nuts. It's crazy. After 100 years, you're still, or 100 more plus years, you're still driving around in a tin can that explodes something inside it. It's nuts. No progress there. But the luxury elements are actually an important aspect that people, because cars are so important in people's lives, they create luxuries that make it feel like it's phenomenal, but it's still a tin can on wheels, no matter whether it's a Rolls or whether it's a Kia, I don't care. It's a tin can on wheels because there's been no progress. And that is part of it, that we're not progressive, that we're actually regressive, and the degradation of all experience is top of the list, to degrade our experiences as much as possible so we don't have a chance ultimately to actually be able to distinguish, identify a good experience from a bad experience. A good painting, something that is actually effective, making you feel that you're responding to something real and it's important to you, and a shit painting that just reinforces all the degradation. This is what I'm saying. This is what's sort of going on. And I'm elaborating on what I see as the new abnormal. The new abnormal. Don't even kid yourself about calling this normal. It's nothing near normal. This is a new abnormal. And this is one of the aspects of this new abnormal, is to degrade all our experiences.